rescheduled to another date, and then finally the date for the test came. I did the test. We went around here and there. We're just driving around, and there was this point. Now, that day of the test, I went pretty early in the morning because the test was around 8:30. So I went around 7, and I told my instructor, let's just do some areas of driving. So we did some areas and everything. Around the time of the test, I had traveled. I think I may have just come back from a trip or something. So there are different parking routes that we use all the time. In fact, I've actually even feel like I've driven on routes that are not driving routes, test routes, and I was even getting frustrated because I wanted the instructor to just teach me the parts where I need for the test. Let me just pass the test, I beg. I want to learn how to drive when I'm driving, because definitely even this part of town that I'm driving in, I would not even be driving here anymore. So just take me through the test route. Let me just pass it and go. But he wanted me to also think outside the box. So sometimes we could drive in areas which are not test routes. We could even come all the way to Budapest, drive near the Danube and everything. So at the point I was low-key getting frustrated with this man. I was like, just teach me. So one day I told him that, why don't you just teach me driving routes so that I just pass and go? I was like, I'm teaching you driving. Whatever I'm teaching you is the routes. But me in my head, I was like, So yeah, back to the story. So that morning, we did a particular route and everything, and then now it was around 8:30, and then we had to start the class. Now it's usually when the test starts, the examiner and external examiner sits right next to you, and then your instructor, who has been with you throughout your journey, sits behind in the back seat. Okay, so, and the instructor who you're familiar with, he's the one who will say left, right, take a left on the next turn. So usually does that. So we had done a route in the morning, so I was hoping that this man would just let us go on that same route, and I beg, I'm just pass and go. So in the morning when we got out of the parking lot, we did the left route, and we did all the left. So now we got out, this man said right. I was like, oh my God. This right route we had done before, right? But it hadn't been done recently. So I was like, oh no. So we did the right route. We're going. Then there was this point he said I should do a U-turn. And I missed where to do the U-turn. And the issue was that I should have immediately corrected myself when I noticed that, I didn't do the U-turn here. Let me just correct myself immediately and go. But the moment I missed the spots to do the U-turn, I just got discombobulated, and I just told myself I had failed. Instead of correcting myself, I just sort of remained on the bus lane, because the road is a normal road, but it changes into a bus lane at a point. So yeah, so if I had done the U-turn, it would have been perfect. But because I missed the point of doing the U-turn and I remained on the bus lane for about 10 seconds, yeah, I just knew I'd messed up. So immediately that happened, the instructor was like, the examiner was like, please park. The moment he did that, I was like, I know I failed. And then he told my instructor to come take over. And then I went to sit on the passenger seat, and I think I cried because I was tired. I was really tired. I tried not to cry, but the tears were just flowing because I was tired. It was draining, waking up every day. I mean, not every day, but that early. All the money that was going. And it was a lot. So I literally just cried the whole journey. And we went back to the parking lot where we had started from, and then the instructor was like, I'm sorry you have failed. the examiner was like, I'm sorry, please me, I know. I didn't say it, but obviously I know. So he told me what I'd done wrong and everything, and then I think the next trip, the instructor corrected that for me and everything. So that was around September, October. Then I had purpose in my mind after that I want to end the year passing my test. So we had done some more tests. I told my examiner, when does he think I can do the test? She was like, it all depends on me. If I'm confident enough to do the test, fine. Because it's 50-50. It all depends on who? Moi. So in December, I was like, Papa, I'm going to do the test again, because I want to enjoy my Christmas without thinking about coming back to do test again. And my money is just going. The little foreign I've been able to save is just going. Because at this point, I had crossed my budget. Because my budget was like 30-40 hours. And I think I did like 200 or 2,000. In fact, 2 billion hours. Sure. So I told him, please, I need to do again. I need to clear my Christmas. So I went to register for the test again. And this time was in mid-December thereabout. So mid-December of 2024. So we started, so the time came, I did all my morning check-ins, like pre-driving check-ins, the tire, the brake, the lights, the signaling lights, the you know, the basic things you have to do before you start the car. So we did that. It was actually a woman examiner, and this man was just chatting with her throughout the whole ride. Seemed they were cool, I don't know, but like, yeah, so they were just chatting. I was driving. I was very cautious of all the mistakes I'd done in the past and the corrections I'd done. So we took the right turn, parked. I braked nice. I didn't brake like this. I took my time, was braking, using my indicator lights, turning to the left, using my 2 hands on the wheel. You know, when you're learning how to drive, you can't use your one hand and be doing things. It's like this. You can't do like this. Meanwhile, my previous instructor, he was teaching me that I can do like this. But this second one said that, no, like this. You see? Well, I had to be spending money relearning things. It was just annoying me at the point of like, why did my father insist and teach me how to drive? Because I would have saved all this money and done something better. Genuinely, this whole experience of getting my driver's license, it was way more experience than even me getting my master's education. Genuinely. So I did the test, and usually the test is supposed to take like 15 minutes. But I was driving 15 minutes. I was like, these people are not stopping. Driving 30 minutes. About 45 minutes, I was still driving. So I went back into the parking lot, and then I parked. And then I was just waiting. Just waiting. Then my instructor told me that I had passed. I was screaming. This was me when my instructor told me that I was like, I was just stomping my feet in the car, and my instructor was like this. And then the female examiner, wait. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. The instructor sits next to you, and then the examiner sits at the back so that I can see everything. So my instructor was next to me. He was like this. So then he was like, oh, genuinely, I did really good. I did really, really good. He's so impressed. So that was how I finished my test. So when we finished my test, and that was when I went to do my first aid exam. I've noticed that some people do their first aid exam right after they finish their theory test, or at the same time they are doing their practical. But for me, I just wanted to finish with my practical and move forward. So when we finished the test, my examiner was like, I've passed, but I can literally just go to the Komanya Black, which is like a central administration office, and get my license. I was like, oh, I need to do my first aid. They were like, you haven't done your first aid? I was like, no. So you see, people do their first aid test within the time frame of getting their practical test, so that they'll do everything together. But I finished my practical test, then I had to go and start doing my first aid course. So I went to register for my first aid course. It was also an online training material, and then you have to learn how to do CPR, learn some of the maneuvers like the Rautek maneuver, the Heimlich maneuver, and all of that, how to deal with somebody who has collapsed, how to deal with somebody who is bleeding heavily, who is fainted, who has abdominal pain, what to do when there's carbon dioxide poisoning. So I learned all of that online. So when you're confident that you're done learning online, you also go and register for an exam. The online test cost me about 4,500 forint, and then the exam cost me 18,000 forint. Now for the exam, I actually thought I was going to sit down and write an exam, but it didn't happen that way. So I went to this place. Was it at Gon's iPad? Yeah, I registered. I found a slot online. There's a website where you have to book an online appointment. So I booked the online appointment, and I looked for one with English availability. Sometimes you see it in the slot in bracket, available in English. If it's not available in English, it's just there, which means that the whole test is going to be in Hungarian. So I found one that was available in English. I think there are 2 locations in Budapest. So I found one close around going to Arpad. You have to go in pairs, and then so when we went in, they asked me to put this guy in recovery position. I put him in recovery position. Then he also asked me to put him in recovery position. Then we did that. There were 2 people sitting there. I think of course there will be doctors. It was like a first aid Red Cross office. So they were sitting there, and they asked us what to do. I mean, they took our IDs and everything. So after I put the guy in recovery position, there was a mannequin there. They were like, what do I do when they asked me basic questions? What do I do if I see somebody lying unconscious? Like, oh, then he asked me to sit down, and whilst he was asking me questions, I was actually filling my certificate. So he filled out a certificate. It's a small half paper. It's not a full A4 sheet. It's just a small paper about this size. And then he filled it out for me, and it was actually my certificate of completion of my first aid exam. I was like, so this is what I paid 18,000 for. Maybe I could have read this somewhere on YouTube. But the thing is, on YouTube, the information is maybe too much, and it may miss some of the most important points. But yeah, so I did my first aid exam, and then I think in that same week, on the Thursday, I went to this Komanya Black. I went to a Komanya Black, which is a district office. And I presented them with my passport, which is an ID, of course. I presented them also with the medical checkup that I had done after I passed my theory test. That was before I did my practical. So I presented them with that one. And I also presented them with my first aid certificate. And yeah, that was pretty much it. So it was on a Thursday, and then the lady told me that, okay, it will be ready in about 9 days. Like my actual driver's license will be ready in about 9 days. I went to take some pictures. And what else did I do? Then she asked me, how would I like to receive my driver's license? Would they post it to me, or I would like to personally come to the office first? I was like, please, I'm coming personally to the office first. I don't want anybody to come and post and then to go and land. I'm like, please, I'm coming to the office for it. So it was on a Thursday, and then they gave me a provisional. Where is it? I had a line here somewhere. So it was a provisional certificate on an A4 sheet, which they told me I could use to drive within Hungary until my actual driver's license came out. So they did that, and I was like, okay, 9 days, I'll just keep an eye out for it. They took my number so that they'll send me an SMS when the card is ready. So I was there. And I went on Thursday, Friday, Monday, literally just 2 working days. I got a notification that my card is ready, so I should come pick it up from the office. So that was how I walked majestically into the office. It didn't even take me 30 minutes, honestly. The morning I even went to request for this, that's one thing I like about European systems. There's bureaucracy in some areas, but in some areas, things are not bureaucratic at all. Yeah. It took me about 30 minutes maximum to do my application. And then on the day I went for it, it was literally in and out. There was just a queue for there, of course, but it was less than 20 minutes. I had my driver's license. And this license actually allows me to travel within any of the EU countries. And I'm like, wow. I mean, allows me to drive in any of the EU countries. So this is how I finally got my 7-figure driving license. Yes, it cost me 7 figures to get this piece of paper. And it's supposed to be a 10-year license. Usually they start counting from the day of your medical exam. So I officially got this in January of 2025. But remember, I started the process in 2023 when I went to do my health check with my GP. So this card is valid until 2033, even though I just got it in 2025. So I pretty much lost about 1.5 years. And it's actually valid until my birthday in 2023. I don't know why it's until my birthday, because when I went to see my GP, it was way before my birthday. But yeah, so I finally have my driver's license, and I just thought to come and share with you. If you already have a license and you want to convert it into a Hungarian license, there's a process for that. I think if your country was part of the country that signed, is it the Vienna Convention or this convention about driving, then there's an easier route around it. But if your country did not sign that contract, you may also have to go through the same process as me and get it fresh. But if you're just naturalizing your documents and everything, there's a way easier process than if you're starting from scratch like me, or if your country didn't have the Vienna Convention agreement, whatever. But guys, this is just a short story of how I finally got my driver's license. I'm really so happy that this hurdle is over, and I have until 2033 to breathe and everything. I live in Budapest. Budapest public transportation is the best, honestly. Maybe that's also why it took me forever to get my driver's license even after coming here, because public transportation pretty much does the job. Buses have bus lanes, and unlike back home where bus lanes, you would see taxis, you would see private cars on the bus lanes. Bus lanes are bus lanes. So you can be in the bus lane and you'll be just watching all the private cars in the traffic as you are rolling past them in the public transportation. We have trams, trains, and everything. I literally, from home to my workplace, it's just about 30 minutes, including walking. Exactly. And I pick 2 vehicles to get to work. And I'm able to do that with all the walking to the different parts in under 30 minutes. So that should tell you how much public transportation works. I'm sure if I should use my own car, I would meet some traffic and finding parking space, all that stuff. Maybe if I was living in the outskirts of Budapest then. But currently, I'm not in a rush to get a car or learn how to drive a car. Of course, I did rent a car out recently, and I was driving on the highway. It was a pretty good experience. But I'm happy I finally get my license, and I can focus on other things, and my money can rest. The little coins I have in this inflationary period of currency depreciation in Hungary. So yes, guys, this is just all about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until then, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I will meet you in the next one. Ciao!